All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan, the ex-Muslim atheist, and welcome to another episode of Sultan's House of Sin. Full Fizz K, I don't know who that is. All right, let's see. Let's see. Full Fizz K.
Hello there.
Hello.
Yeah, just regarding, obviously, I see you bring it up a lot, the few times I do watch, what you say regarding the sex slaves in the Quran.
Right.
Or, the so-called verses, that you claim promote, taking of sex slaves and whatnot. Could you give me your just briefly your arguments as to why you think that this actually promotes, taking sex slaves?
Well, I just think that the biggest argument is that we have to have sex slaves, or if Prophet Muhammad or this book or this religion is for all times and all purposes, this is a horrible book of morality, because sex slavery would never be okay, especially in our day and age. In this day and age, it would never be okay.
Let me make a claim, Harris. Yeah, let me make a claim to you, and let me see if you agree with it or not. My claim is this. First of all, I don't think the Quran promotes that. Let me just make that clear. But my claim is this.
But it allows it. But does it allow it?
Let me make my claim, and then we'll come back to this. My claim to you is, wherever a war is going on, whether it's in Kashmir, where we know Hindu soldiers, they rape Muslim women, whether it's Muslims doing it, wherever wars go on, whether it was in Bosnia, Chechnya, Iraq, Afghanistan, anywhere else, even Syria, I'm not saying Muslims don't do it. Wherever wars go on, rapes take place. Soldiers rape women. Yes or no? Do you agree with this claim?
No, there are no reported rapes of or massive raping of United States in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Well, you've just got to do a simple Google search, my friend. That's all you've got to do.
Not in that, and those people who get caught, they actually have been court-martialed. The strong laws against.
No. The people who committed those heinous crimes in Guantanamo Bay, and they were caught out because and the soldier that released them images was actually disciplined.
Are you talking about Abu Ghraib prison? Are you talking about Abu Ghraib prison?
No, you're talking. You made the claim that the U.S. doesn't commit these crimes.
Yeah.
I'm countering that. I'm saying they do. Yeah, Abu Ghraib is an example. Guantanamo Bay is an example. These are just a few examples I can give you.
You're giving me a vague example of isolated incidents, and they've been caught out and they've been dealt with. Those people have been punished. There's an official policy. We don't do that. So to say that it happens, therefore let's just put it in our holy book. So, we know that it happens. We know that when at the end of Second World War, there were more rapes committed by Red Army on German women than ever in history. And then, yes, there were some rapes committed by American forces too, but they were almost negligible at that point compared to what else. So we know that these things happen. But you know what we do? We don't say that, well, these things happen. So, yeah. We say, no, we got to make laws against it.
Okay,
Harris, listen. Murder. Hang on, murders happen, but we don't say, oh, it happened. So you know what? Just ignore it. We make laws against it.
Okay. I understand. Now, so is that a yes then? You accept my claim that it happens?
What?
That rapes do happen.
Well, of course rapes happen. Murders happen.
Okay, thank you. So we're on the same boat. I'm glad to see that, you're at least rational. And you're not.
I know. Let's just decide where this rationality leads us.
Right. Okay. Well, my second claim is, obviously, I told you at the beginning, I don't believe the Quran promotes this. All the verses that you can quote me, and I can go through them with you right now, but I don't know whether you have time, and I don't have a lot of time as well. I've got to go in a few minutes. But all the verses that you talk about, it regulates this act, because we believe in the Creator. We know, Allah created us. He knows His own creation. He knows that, men are animalistic. Like I said, you've agreed with me that rapes do occur. All the verses in the Quran that, mind you, were revealed 1400 years ago when, taking slaves and all this sort of stuff and rapes and that, there was no human rights. This was the norm.
Time bound. So you agree with this time bound just for that time? Would you agree? Now, let me ask you a question. Would you agree we've created a better society today than we had 1400 years ago?
Well, first of all, I don't agree that, I believe that Islam has an inbuilt flexibility. I believe it does go in certain things, it does, follow the times. I mean, so,
So twist
but
and turn,
let me
so
get back,
you trying to,
let me get back to my point about
you
the
didn't
Quran.
answer my question. You didn't answer my question then. Do you agree that I will play the same game with you now? I know I'm getting these, I'm getting the Dawa boys at the end of every week stream, which is good. I appreciate that. This is going to make for a really good excerpt. But so my question to you is, like, you asked me a question, and let's see how rational you are now. Would you agree the world we live in today is far better than the world ever in the history? Or at least the known history. Let's just talk about known history. Would you agree that we're living in better times?
Well, I agree. It's better for those who are living in, in no poverty. I mean, most of the world is in more poverty than it's ever been. There's more wars than there's ever been.
No.
I mean, if you look at it through rose-tinted glasses, Harris, then you will agree that it's better. But you're only looking at it.
Okay, so you made wrong points. You made factually wrong points. We have least amount of people living in poverty now than ever before. Throughout human history, we've lived, 98% of the world's population has always lived, and this is throughout the known history that we can work out. Now the world's poverty is close to 50%, right? So this is the big, half the world's population is gone. It's not in poverty anymore, but which was otherwise in all pre-industrial revolution time has lived in poverty. And even in 21st century, that's when we actually started reducing that. So that was a false claim, first of all. Even people who are living in poverty today are better off than people who were living in poverty 300 years ago and beyond. People are not dying of polio. People are not dying of smallpox today. The infant mortality rate has gone down because women are not dying during childbirth. Children are not dying as many children are not dying during childbirth, even in poorer countries. So everywhere humans are far better off than they ever were.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a good thing. It's definitely a good thing that women are not dying in childbirth. I applaud that. And of polio and all those things. But I believe more people are dying because of bombs being dropped. And, I believe more innocent people are dying than have ever died in our history. We could...
So let's go back to the original point. So we are living in better times than we ever did before. Whether there's 1,400, 1,000 years, 500 years.
Well, I believe that's subjective. I would say no. If you live in relative security and you live in relative, peace and harmony, but then if you really took an honest view of the world in general, you wouldn't ever make that claim. I don't believe you could ever make that claim.
How? Of course I can make the claim.
There's death and destruction all around us, and there's poverty. I don't know I don't know where you get your statistics from, but all of Africa, most of Asia, Europe, they're all in poverty.
I'll quote it to you because I've actually looked into it for a very long time, and I'm well researched on that. There's a book called War of the World, not Wars of the World. No, sorry, Wars of the World, not the novel, but the actual book. It actually goes through all these historic records. Historically, we're having less and less and less conflicts. However, the problem has been, and why 20th century has been the deadliest one, is because of advanced weaponry. But the actual number of conflicts have been going down and down, and even in the 21st century, they're going further and further down. So we're actually, even in terms of conflict, yes, in 20th century, if you take out the first those two big wars, the actual number of people dying as a percentage of people has never been this low. So we are actually less people dying out of conflicts than there was an era that was, and even after the Prophet's time, the whole Arabian Peninsula was in war for that was the norm. When you're not in war, that was the exception. I think in times of Augustus Caesar, it's called one of the greatest periods of Roman history, because I think they went something like 20 years without war. And even those wars were actually on the outskirts. There were a few skirmishes, but at those times, every country was all the time was at war. Persian Empire you were fighting with, Byzantine Empire you were fighting with, in the early Muslim conquest I'm talking about. There were always people dying in war. Now, how many countries Poland is in war with, or half the European countries? Who are they in war with? No one. There are obviously some political problems, but you know, statistically, look it up. Seriously, look it up. Number
right,
of
that's
people
fine. I mean, I do,
down.
look, I don't mind conceding this point. You know, I mean, I don't mind conceding. Let's just say I'll concede. You know, okay, we are in a better time.
Right.
But the thing is, the fact still remains. Even in this better utopia that you talk about, you know, this better time that we have, rapes, you know, soldiers still rape civilians when they conquer territories. Does it still happen, yes or no? Because that was my original point. So I'm going back to my original point.
Not as much. See, you know, now we talked about being rational, you know, like, and you also tried to muddy my statement as well. I'd never said that it's utopia. I said it's better than before. You know, again, it's not as bad as it used to be, but it's not perfect. So why can't you agree? And why would you make a vague generic statement and say soldiers still rape? So if in 100 years time our morality evolves so much and we find 5 cases of soldier rape, you'd be like, voila, see? 1400 years ago, people used to rape women. Soldiers used to rape women. And look now, 5 men have just raped, 5 soldiers have raped. See, no, it's not. We have to look at it in proportions. Rapes of women, they're not happening. They're not happening to a scale that used to happen where it was legalized. So if you want to go to that claim, so where it was legalized, you said you would regulate it. That's the term you used, right? So you're saying regulated. Imagine. I
used the word, hold on, Harris. I used the word regulate, but I didn't say the practice was regulate. I said the animalistic instincts of men are regulated by the Quran. That's my claim. That's my claim.
We have animalistic nature where we want to stab people as well. We don't agree with. We say, okay,
yeah, that's also regulated by the Quran. You know, it says not to kill. It says not to kill innocent people.
Right. So what about innocent?
But anyway, back to my claim about you know.
What about innocent women being taken as sex slaves? You've regulated there.
Okay. Let's go back to that now. Because that was my initial point, and that's the reason I came on. Right. So the Quran it came at 1400 years ago. Like I said, there was sex slaves, as you probably know as well. If anybody's read history, they were taken. You know, there was no human rights. There was nothing. The Quran is revealed, and what does it say in it? In every ayat, it says, give them first of all, there's 4 rules. First of all, you let them free, which the Prophet did 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I mean, I can quote you the hadith.
He had plenty of slaves as well. He owned plenty of slaves too. Come on.
No. I mean,
he didn't free all of them. We have hadiths where he swapped sex slaves as well. We have the hadiths of those hadiths as well.
I mean, slaves were owned pre-Islam, before Islam came. I mean, it was rife in Arabia. It was rife around, most of the world. So that's really a non-claim. What I'm saying is the Quran.
Look, prostitution, but no. What about those animalistic instincts?
Right. Okay. So let's go through the ayats quickly. One ayat says, marry them. If you can't marry free women, marry what your right hand possesses. I mean, let's be honest here. If the Quran is such a book where it's promoting sexual slavery, and you take these people and hold on, you take these women and you do with them what you please, which a lot of atheists and a lot of non-Muslim haters, they like to promote. So why is it talking about marrying them?
It allows it. If it can ban alcohol, this is even more to be banned. The actual human being suffering from it. Would you allow me to murder you and take your wife as a sex slave? Just tell me now. If there is a war going on, I attack your town with my army. How would your wife feel it? But oh no.
Well, let me tell you something. Black and white, Harris. I'm gonna answer you. I'm gonna answer you plain and simple, Harris. I'm gonna answer you plain and simple. I'm not gonna. Hold on. I'm not gonna go beat around the bush. I'm gonna answer you black and white. You asked me, would I like it? First of all, I wouldn't like it. Secondly, if I'm honest, if I'm dead, there's really nothing I can do. To the victor go the spoils. Whoever, they can do what they please. Unfortunately, I'm dead. I can't do anything about it. But let me tell you one thing. Harris. If somebody followed the Quran, if somebody followed the Quran, they would never rape.
I will protect your wife. I would not say that my soldier has animalistic things, so therefore he should be regulated. I would actually stand between any rapist soldier and your wife and I would say, go back. We follow laws and we respect people. We respect human rights. That's what I would do. But you know, you failed to do that.
Well, Haris, I was gonna make the point. There's 4 rules. The first rule is you free all the captives. This is in, you know, this is explicit in our teachings. You can ask any scholar. The second rule is you exchange them for the enemy. You exchange them for your, if they've taken, because they were taking on both sides, you see. So you would exchange them, yours for theirs. The third rule is just slipped my mind, but the third rule is, but anyway, these are the first 2 rules. But as you can see, it goes in order, and the first one is you free them, no questions asked, no strings attached.
Still sex slaves. It's still allowed. It's still allowed. You can beat around the bush. You can try to water it down all you want. First of all, you know, these are all fixed and they've been agreed upon, twisted and turned. No, I don't care. I am just simply going back to the Quran and I'm saying it actually allows it. And as I said, I would not let my soldiers, after killing you in the battlefield, take your wife as a sex slave.
Well, let me make this claim, Haris. Let me make this one claim. Let's just say we went back into the dark ages, yeah, and we got rid of all the human rights, and let's just say like a nuclear bomb hit the world or whatever, and just, you know, there was no human rights anymore. I believe that, you know, if armies fought each other, or people fought each other, I believe, you know, people would still rape, they would still take sex slaves, but I believe if there were Muslims around, what they would do is they would treat them with equality and they would marry them. They would bring them, because the Quran says so. It says to marry them. So Muslims would be the only people who would curb these animalistic instincts. Because why? Because our holy book, it teaches us, it compels us to do this.
Right. So Muslims, you know what Muslims will be doing? Cutting off hands and feet of enemy combatants. That's what they'll be doing. But then there will be some.
No, not necessarily. I mean, torture is forbidden in Islam.
Bullshit.
Torture is forbidden. Haris. What is allowed? What is allowed? Look, what is allowed? Look. I'll be clear with you. Look, I'll be clear with you, Haris. Look, torture is forbidden in Islam. What is allowed is an eye for an eye. If they have tortured you, you can torture that very same person the same way. I believe a lot of scholars say that is allowed. But apart from that, if you have received no torture, or you just capture anybody, you've got to treat them with, you've got to offer them their human rights. You've got to give them food. You've got to give them shelter. You know, so torture is completely forbidden in Islam.
Take the women as sex slaves. You know, I know that this is your Achilles heel. You cannot go around it. Kanana was tortured. Kanana was tortured. Chapter 5, verse 33 clearly says that you can cut off their hands and feet at opposite ends. So you know what? You can. Yes, you have this 1400 years of scholarship where people have come up with different versions of Islam, and the whole fiqh, they've come up with that. I get it, but you know what? I can also say, though, the interpretation, and again, of course, you're making a molehill out of everything, and you have to do it because. But going back to your hypothetical, if the world goes back, nuclear attack, and blah 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 blah, you know what? No, because we have raised a generation of people. We are still very animalistic, and yes, we would still be very brutal in a post-apocalyptic world. We would have these kind of things, but you know what? There would still be people who would actually be standing up. No, we're not going to be cruel.
And Muslims would be one of them. And Muslims, I'm not talking about the extremists. I'm talking about Muslims would be at the forefront. They would be actually, you know, if they would be promoting the idea of not raping, of not, terrorizing, giving captives their human rights and marrying them. Why? Because the Quran explicitly says so.
So no, it doesn't. It said give them food, give them shelter, take them as sex slaves. You know.
Okay, Haris. Haris, you want? Look, I've got 2 minutes. Do you want me to find the ayat for you? You want me to find the verse for you?
What is it? 424. I already know it.
No. The verse that says if you can't marry 3 believing women, marry those whom your right hand possesses.
No, it doesn't matter. But why would we pick and choose? Quran is such an incoherent book. Sometimes you can use that verse. Sometimes you can use the other verse. You know?
No. You can't override that verse. That verse is there, and it was. And you know, if you really open your heart, Haris, and you really understood what the Quran's message was, it was to eventually, you know, treat these first of all, give them their human rights, free them, and if not, marry them. It wasn't to rape them. It was. The Quran came to completely forbid what the Hindus are doing in Kashmir.
Have sex with them. have
What
sex with them.
some extremist Muslims do. The Quran came to completely forbid this action.
Man, what are you talking about? All right, man. I got to wrap that up. Come on.
All right, no worries. I gotta go.
All right. I'm actually enjoying these. I'm actually enjoying the Dava boys from England. You know, these are good. These are good ones. It actually sharpens my debate skills as well. But anyway, I hope more of these guys will come. And yeah, it'll be very interesting. I was about to wrap it up, but I think we let it up. Thanks for letting it up, Full Fizz. I hope I see more of you guys next week. And until next time, Science Hafiz. To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.